Welcome to Startup Hustle. I'm Jason.
And I'm Lewis.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start producing these 2 to 5 minute videos each week, and we're going to start to go over the common questions that we get asked from entrepreneurs or people getting into the startup scene, and then we're just going to go from there.
Yeah, well, basically the whole point of the series is to answer the questions that we commonly get asked from the entrepreneurs and the advice that we share. So instead of giving the advice one-to-one, we want to share the common advice that we share to the entrepreneurs here.
And then that way, hopefully, like the people that can't have coffee with us, they're still getting the answers that they need so that they can start getting into the hustle. So let's explain, like, what is the hustle? What's the
so
hustle
basically, my definition of the hustle, and I take this seriously, is if I've got an idea, or I've got a task, I will take action on that idea or task. I'm not the one to share an idea and then pretend I'm taking action. But the hustle to me means action.
There's a lot of fakers out there. Everyone's got an idea, and we're just about, let's just get straight down to action. Like, you got an idea, what are you doing right now to make that an actionable thing to turn that into an actual business?
But I reckon
get the hustle on.
It's not just the people that are fakers or anything, but I believe that there are people who are out there who have an idea but just don't know how to execute.
Oh, of course.
So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the tips and advice that we do to get an idea out to customers and start selling. So, but the most commonly question, we'll start things off now. The most commonly question we get asked is, where do I begin as an entrepreneur? So if I was to ask you that, what advice do you give to an entrepreneur that comes to us?
So I wouldn't call them an entrepreneur because they wouldn't be asking that question. That would be a entrepreneur. This is a fun word. Entrepreneur. Everyone repeat that after me. Entrepreneur. So I think the first part for an entrepreneur is definitely get involved in the startup scenes in whatever city you're in. There's definitely like this big movement now of everyone that used to be in their bedrooms working on a business and now out in co-working spaces. That's probably the first part. Get yourself around entrepreneurs and just really get the feeling and the vibe for what they're doing to make sure that it's definitely what you want to be doing too. Probably the next step is from your idea, we need to really work out, is your idea worth putting any time into it? Something I talk about a lot is failing fast. So test that idea straight away because you don't want to be spending 3 months working on a business that no one wants to buy. What about you? What's your advice?
So from there, how do we start? For everyone there's a lot of like non-tech co-founders. So if you're someone with like programming skills, you can build a product out there and probably spend 6 months but never sell it. Or you could be like a non-tech co-founder like I am, but just don't know how to turn that, something that you can sell to customers.
So I think this works both ways though, because even if you're a tech co-founder, like I'm a tech guy, sure I could go and spend months building a prototype, but at the end of the day, I spend months in the dark building something that no one in my market has actually seen yet. Yeah. So I think this works for both people. So if you're sitting there with an idea, and it's like, how do I get this to market, or how do I actually turn this from an idea into a product? And something that we really emphasize on is no excuses. Hashtag no excuses.
Yeah.
Because there's no excuse for why you can't be doing your business tomorrow. If you're not a technical person, or if you are a technical person, you should be talking to your customer today. And there's plenty of tools out there. Yeah. So some of the tools that I like to use are Flinto. So if you're not a technical person, or like for me, I'm not a design person, you can go and use Flinto, get a designer, or Lewis's favorite thing, Canva.
Yeah, so just to start it off, so there's a lot of tools where you can if you imagine what your app looks like, or what your website looks like, there's a prototyping or wireframing, tools that you can sign up to. An example could be UXPin or Balsamiq. What I do, to avoid having to pay $30 or $15 a month is, I've got a bunch of email accounts, and I keep signing up until I've built it out and giving it to.
So start a new hype of lean, no cash start.
Yes, if you've got no cash and you want to start lean, then create a Gmail account, register to a free trial, and then make as much use of that free trial as possible. From there, you build your prototype, you build your wireframe, go to a designer, pay someone on Odesk or like Fiverr to make it look beautiful for you. Then you go to Flinto and then set it up so it looks like a prototype. Because I think that in terms of why people don't take action is they don't know how to take these steps, how to build a prototype. You don't have to spend a lot of time building the actual website or building the actual app. Just build something that you can sell and show to a potential customer.
So, do you think that you have to actually build something to go and talk to your customer?
No, so what I do is when I've got a fantastic idea, there's two things that I either do. I go on Canva and build a sales kit explaining what my value propositions are and what opportunities this customer can get onto. Or the other thing is I will, prototype something or wireframe something using UXPin or Balsamiq, and then get a designer cheap to just build it out, and then use, what do you call it? Flinto?
Flinto.
Yeah.
Flinto, so you don't need to...
No coding required.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Flinto makes a website out of your images that you put onto your phone. And it turns into it, makes it look like it's an actual app. So that's what I do with my startups. I don't go and put in 3 months or even a month worth of time into developing something before I talk to a customer. Within 2 days, I've got my designs done. I've got an app. It's a fake app, but it's enough for me to go out to a customer and say, hey, look at this. I can push this button and push that button, and it's a function app. Yep. Will you buy it?
So instead of spending 3 months or a month building something, you've basically built something to sell to customers within a week, right?
Yeah, within a week, and then within a week, you should know whether there's customers out there.
Yeah. So for us, it's about building, an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, or building a minimum billable product.
MVP.
Yeah.
MVP is what we're all about.
Yeah. Because for us to validate if the idea works is to actually get cash, get paid from a customer. That's validation for us. Then the next step is, how do I, go from a prototype and make it better for my customers? So this goes down to, we've got an idea, we've shared the idea, then it goes down to business development, right? Yeah. And then product development.
And then actually filling out the features of, what's my customer going to get the most out of? Where do I put my attention today to get the most bang for my buck tomorrow?
Yeah. So when you go out to the customers, they like it, they pay for it, you ask them, what feature, or what would you like to see that would, give value to you on your business? Because the whole point of being an entrepreneur and building these kind of products is creating value to your customers. And that way they'll always keep coming back to you. So from there, the whole point of BizDev or customer development, and instead of assuming what features to build, speak to your customers and ask them. A lot of them could be giving different things, but when they start repeating the same thing, then you build that one, and then get feedback from there, right? Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. So I think this is how we're going to go with the show. So what we want to do now is we've got a whole bunch of questions. Like I've got a bucket right next to me with questions in it, but we want you guys to engage with us. If you have a question about startups or how do you start, how do you find customers, how do you validate your product, how should you build your product, how do you find a co-founder, for example, we want you to get to us. So get on Twitter, Instagram, use what's our hashtag?
The Startup Hustle.
Yeah, and we'll start doing this each week. And along with that, part of our whole thing of we want to walk the talk, because that's all we do. We don't like to talk too much. We just want to be constantly doing action. So
and not just that. Look, we must admit, our idol and our favorite guy is Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk. If you haven't heard of him, Google Gary Vaynerchuk. He is the king of hustle. And the whole point of this video series is not to regurgitate the same shit. Cool. Yeah. Come on, Gary. It's not to regurgitate the same shit, but to give advice on what we've given and what we've done in our experiences. And what we want to do as well is that we've started 2 startups, a startup each. And what we want to do is share with you our journey. So in terms of going out
that's
there.
what 2015 is now.
Yeah.
So we're both working on brand new startups. So we've learned, we've failed heaps. Now we're at the next point of 2015 is all about action. And along with that, we want accountability. So we're going to basically keep a video journal each week of what we want to do for that week. And then we're going to come back to you as we're going through the week and update you on our progress so that you can say, hey, look, these guys aren't just talking shit. They're actually out there doing the stuff. They practice what they preach. And I think that's the most important part.
Exactly.
So that you guys can grow from that too, instead of we'll go and make all the mistakes so you guys don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and until next week, keep hustling.
Exactly.